Rebecca Lamb Weiss is Joni Lamb's youngest daughter. Particularly concerning was her mom's decision to marry Doug Weiss, about which she hasn't always been silent. Even before things escalated, Rebecca made it apparent that she was unhappy with their relationship. She was unafraid to speak her mind, and her disapproval of her mom's marriage to Doug was evident. After some time has passed, everyone is curious as to why JW and Rebecca have remained silent throughout. However, this is not always the case. Rebecca broached the subject with her mom just before Joni and Doug's June 10, 2023 wedding. A covert audio recording from May of that year has been uncovered in which Joni Lamb discusses the extremely intense fight. During their argument, Joni claims that Rebecca held firm and refused to back down. Unlike her mom, Rebecca had no problem expressing her opinion on the matter. Regardless, Becca completely lost it. "I can't see the grandchildren anymore," she pointed out. "That is so cruel that I am unable to post. He can't stop claiming that he cast SP on me, that I'm full of devils, and that I have devils. She used these same words when she spoke to me, and it won't happen again. It would be best if you two could simply hang around and figure this out." She was spoiled, egotistical, and self-absorbed. "I did tell her at one point. It might not be the best time right now. I stated that. You won't be able to control yourself around me," she declared. "However, they are accurate," I responded. After they got out of the car, she continued screaming uncontrollably, and I attempted to flee the driveway so Asher wouldn't hear a thing. Coming to be with him was my sole purpose in coming. She unlocks the passenger door and continues driving just as I start to back away. "Kindly shut the door," I politely requested. She kindly requested that the door be closed. "Put the door shut. Then these are your desired items for this location. The next step is to pull over, exit the vehicle, turn around, and shut the door behind me." She and Asher are both visible standing there. I told them to keep the door shut. Embracing the freedom, "This is over." I go back inside to exit, and she unlocks the door once again. I exit, turn around, and close the door. The number 14 times. Following that, I step away. I never anticipated that would transpire. I should have known about that meeting before I went to collect Asher. I had a fantastic first hour once it started. She explained the beginning of our conflict by saying, "Mom, you really hurt my feelings by throwing me out of the house." "I did not force you to leave the house," I informed her. "As I mentioned before, I was worried about my safety while I was in Colorado, and I didn't want you to enter the house without me." She continued to remark, "Well, when you kick someone out of the house, they were there before you kicked them out, right?" And that was the crux of it. Jimmy and I had our conversation immediately following that. I covered the cost of the first birthday bash last year, and now the big day is almost here. He and she has been changed to she. Doug has also been changed. Saying, "I don't want Doug there," she ultimately decided against it. He replied, "He'll be there if I pay for the party, and it's at my house while he's here for the weekend." According to Joni Weiss, Doug Weiss spent the weekend at her residence before they were married. That is not an appropriate example for her to follow as a Christian leader. On top of that, she ought to have been grieving her husband, but instead, Doug spends the weekends at her house. There appears to be no boundaries, and it defies logic. This recording makes it quite clear that Joni and Doug were kissing before they were married, and it also shows how furious Rebecca was. The fact that you're immediately making out is all that matters. However, I don't apologize for that. For the sake of exploring our feelings for one another, we did kiss. I think we might have an issue. We had a 60-hour conversation in July via FaceTime. Do you think making out is the issue, Jimmy? I kissed the living daylights out of him, so there's no way. Jimmy Evans apparently didn't mind that Doug spent weekends at Jan's place or that they kissed before they were married. That is absolutely shocking. No credible Christian leader would ever support such a position. He would breach the rules only if it would make his friends or Joni happy. Truthfully, it is understandable that he ended his marital mission. You can't preach the value of marriage if you condone such conduct. In any case, because there's more to discover in the tape with Rebecca and Joni, let's give it another listen, saying, "I don't want Doug there. She ultimately decided against it. He replied, he'll be there if I pay for the party, and it's at my house while he's here for the weekend." The alarm was triggered by that. You mentioned before that he wasn't obligated to, right? I never said that. I informed you. It was you, not me, who said I was going to purchase that. Jimmy responded to my disclosure by saying, "You have to set that boundaries now. He will reside with you. That kind of influence is beyond her control. If she does it now, she will attempt it again later. She informed me you're canceling your grandson's birthday party for the first time. Then I canceled the celebration. You're taking it away." Saying, "I'm not taking it away," I continued. "Even though I promised you payment, you wouldn't tell me the truth and say, 'Come exactly.'" It was maddening. While she was ranting on the phone, he overheard her. It was because she was shouting, not you. With Scrabble, we were laughing and joking. "Pay attention to this absurdity," Mom exclaimed. She wasn't even making an effort to locate her. Shirtless, Rebecca undressed. Her words come out as, "You! Get up! I'm gonna make you! You are failing in your role as a Christian mother because of this." My reaction was one of, "What?" Notwithstanding my fondness for Rebecca. Like you, I've acted in that manner. I mean, I get the impression that everyone's mom is doing their best, but Rachel in particular has been wonderful to me. The fact that she has been kind to him and the fact that she may be saying something different are both things that I can accept. It was impolite of Rebecca to treat Doug that way. Her eyes met mine as she passed by, and she spoke the words, "Hello." He then inquires, "What's up? You're dirty. What exactly am I sensing? Explain it to me." There's no denying that Joni has only ever associated with people who share her views. It would have been reasonable for her to prioritize her connection with Doug over her children, but she showed little interest in their concerns or respect for their opinions. They are her children and the ones she cherishes the most in her life. Rather than caring what people thought of her non-biblical connection, she chose to disregard them. The fact that someone expressed mistrust of Rebecca's absence from her house reveals the formality and distance with which she interacted with her children. My heart aches for it. When there is an imbalance of authority and financial resources, this happens. In order to fit your story, you begin to break the rules. They went to extreme lengths to portray God as having a hand in this romance. Those articles come to mind, the story of Joni Lamb and Doug Weiss's love, or how God unexpectedly brought them together. It seemed as if they were attempting to market a fairy tale while denying the existence of any real issues. Rebecca was vocal in her opposition to Joni and Doug's marriage before they were married, so her silence is puzzling. In any case, according to Jonathan, she did sign a non-disclosure agreement. Being certain that Rebecca would speak out, Joni wasted no time offering her money to be silent. That's tragic. The law has silenced Rebecca despite her passionate feelings about the matter. This isn't about they just don't want to talk. Becca and JW have already decided. They deliberated over that decision, and I respect their right to do so. Word on the street is that JW expressed his concerns in a moving missive. Actually, that's correct. He handed it to me to peruse, and it was merely a catalog of all the things he had witnessed, the various details that ultimately implicated Pete as the perpetrator. It was clear they were completely behind us after that. However, they regrettably decided to sign the non-disclosure agreement and claim, "I can tell you right now, since Jonathan did not take out a mortgage, he will not be bothered. Since he followed the crowd and went to a bank, he is not owed anything by them." Meanwhile, the only ones lending him a hand are the girls. They all borrowed large sums of money from daystar, who may have charged them exorbitant interest rates. Homes have been provided for them. Why didn't you get a loan? While I was there the other night, Jonathan, I asked them straight out. In my opinion, That was correct, he remarks. Yes, Sane has done it again. Did you not receive assistance from J. Dayar in obtaining a mortgage? He thought it was wrong. The man is being truthful here. Even though Marcus didn't know him, he had trust in this man and wanted him to take charge of Dayar in his absence. Upon retrieval of his remains from the grave, the new recruits will enter. His mother begins to tail him and yell at him for no apparent reason if he isn't reading the cheerful emails. It's obvious that in situations like these, money has become a powerful tool to stifle critics and purchase allegiance. It is common knowledge that famously strong and rich people can control the narrative, stifle dissent, and assemble an axis of loyal advocates. The problem is, money can only buy you time to avoid facing the truth. Consider the situation with Rebecca. She was among the most vocal critics of Joni's association with Doug Weiss, and rightfully so. She wasn't an unbiased critic because she is family and has first-hand knowledge of the issue. Instead of listening to her, Joni allegedly utilized money and an NDA to quiet her. If you want to remain silent, this is the way to go. It may provide temporary relief, but it cannot conceal the reality. What will happen anyway will be postponed regardless. The problem with this approach is that it merely masks the error rather than fixing it. It seems like, in the end, everything always works out for the best. When things doesn't add up, others will notice. Attempts to purchase silence or support will just make your attempt to hide anything more apparent. Christian leadership in particular places a premium on honesty and reliability. Once broken, it's not easy to get those back. It makes no difference how much money is spent on a case, the truth always emerges. How much longer can this go before things start to unravel? Are you in agreement? Do you really believe this strategy ever produces the desired results? Or do you believe it exacerbates the situation whenever the truth is revealed?